Hello everybody, this is Mary Jane from Art Like That. Today I want to share with you this painting I did. It was a painting that I really liked the way it turned out, and I thought I would do something similar using a similar composition using some different colors. So let's have a go. Of course, roses are always a favorite for most people. I think I'm going to do some orange roses. So we start up here with getting our darker orange. I'm going to use a paintbrush that has hardly any paint on it and gently bring her around that paint. Of course, when you try to redo a painting, it never comes out exactly the same. I'm sure that if you paint, you found that. Okay, so we simulated some petals there. I'm going to go on to another sort of a pinky orange. A little bit of pink, a little bit of yellow, and same thing again, using hardly any paint on my brush, just moving the paint around and changing the shape, positioning of a rose facing the other way. You always have to play it by ear with doing roses, because you're always dealing with the water and the way it wants to move. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of a contrasting one in here. This is just going to be to give a little bit of splash of color. It's not really anything, but it does give that kind of pizzazz to a painting, I find, especially when you're working with florals. I'm also going to do a little bit of filling in with some green in here. Nothing is very precise at all at this point. I'm going to change up that green and make it a little bit darker. I'm adding, I've got a sort of a dark turquoisey blue here mixed with my yellow. It's going to be very light, adding lots of water, but just adding specks of different greens in different places. Okay, and now we're going to do another rose. This one's going to be a little bit more pink. Something a little bit darker in the center there. Just little dabs. And now we're going to bring in our pink. Leaving a little bit of white. It's going to be a nice soft pink. Okay, so now we're going to do one last, actually there's two more roses to do here, but we're going to do another one here. And I think perhaps another pink one would be kind of neat to have. This is more of a magenta mixed with the upper rose. Again, washing off my brush and just, I like to do lines like so because it really does give the effect of petals more. Oops, that was a little bit too bright, but that's okay, we can wash it down. A bit of water. And at the top here. Add a little bit more of that magenta just through. We'll probably add a little bit more to that after I let it dry. Now we're going to do some sort of, you know, not really a specific flower, but a little bit of orange color, and it's sort of like on a stem that flows down. And gives a bit of shape to the composition. Add a tiny bit of pink in there. My other painting, there's quite a bit of darkness added, so I'm going to take a little bit of my black here and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of brown and just dab it in the center here and let it blend. If it doesn't blend, then you can just add a little bit of water and that just softens it. Okay, and then through here we have what looked like some berries. So I think maybe that bright pink should be brought down again. So let's have some pink berries. Like so. And then at the top here we had another sort of spiky flower, and I think I might just bring this sort of pinky magenta back up here. So blending your colors and making sure that they balance each other out. Very simple, straightforward 4-petal flowers. And then I'm going to add a little bit of some buds. Like so. And then in this corner we had another spiking flower, which I think I'll go with even more brighter pink. And again, it's just sort of little dabs of color. Like so. And now we're going to have one more rose just in this corner here. Going to leave a gap for some greenery. Not a very big rose. bit of greenery. I'm going to come back down here where it's a little drier. I'm going to add a little bit of the brown to the green, so we have a darker stem coming through here. Might have a couple more sort of like just little buds of green, and I'll add some color to those when it dries. I'm also going to have a stem that comes through here and joins up with our berries. Same over here in our stem. And over here. So I'm also going to have a little bit of a stem here coming off this rose. Okay, now I'm going to add a bit of yellow to my darkish green here. Sort of a, I guess, an olivey green color. I'm just going to start adding some leaves. I'm going to bring that color back up here. I'm just going to do a sprinkle of this color up here too. And we'll bring that color back over this way and do a sprinkle of that color here. I don't worry too much about the shapes because we're going to go over top of these as well. So here, I'm going to add a little bit more as well. Okay, we've got 4. So what we don't want to do is have it even. So what we might do is add another sprinkle of this color here, adding a odd number, and also bring this color, little dabs of this color in throughout the painting here. A little bit more in the middle here. A little bit of water. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of the green. It's again the turquoise blue mixed with the yellow. And then I'm going to put it in another palette and add a tiny bit of red to that, so you have sort of a pinky green leaf. And we're going to add a little bit of that. Oh, that's a little bit dark. Just take some of that off. Going to add a little bit more pink to that, and then water it down. So a little bit of pinky color going right over top of our leaves, and I'm going to put a little bit of that down here as well, and maybe over here. Okay, now I'm going to go even darker. I'm going to have my darker green, and it's a little bit more of a blue-green. I'm going to add a few squiggles. And a couple in here too. A couple of lines through here. Should be careful not to do too many of these. just adds a little bit of shape, different shapes. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of the black to that green to darken it up, and we're going to start adding a few dark bits in here. So, and this is where we want to put, but we don't want to be too bold. In here, we're going to add some darker bits, splashes of colour. This way, maybe have a couple of lines here. Add some in through here. Another sprig. Spray. I do love this brush because you can get, you know, a fine point. You can get a lot of change with this, the shape of this, but you can also get a flat line with it as well, which is really useful. Just mixing up a bit more of that darkish color. I'm gonna go in over here. I'm gonna just add a few dabs here and there. Just gonna add some in through here as well. A little bit over here. So I'm pretty much going as I feel I need to fill in little spots. So that will depend on you know, how you feel about things as you're painting. Yeah, I want to add a little bit more definition to this flower here. We're going to put, I think, my yellow is getting a bit green. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow in here. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of a darker shade to a couple of those petals. Just to give a little bit more definition. And here as well. Also, add a little bit more pink there. I think we need to add a little bit more color here. Darken the center. It's better. Darken the center here. A little bit more in here too. Still want this one to be light, so just gonna give it a bit of shape. And of course this rose here needs a little bit more shape to it as well. So kind of like the way this one is working. It looks sideways, so we won't do too much to it. It's too strong. And then here we'll add a bit more of a reddy pink center. Darken it up a little. And then add the orange, think I'm going to add a little bit of orange in here too. Just adding a few lines. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to just give it a little signature at the bottom. Oh, before I do that, I wanted to add a little bit of color here. Let's get some orange. I'm going to add a bit of water to that. A bit more green. A tiny bit of yellow. Okay. So I'll just sign it right here. My signature is always quite faint. Okay, so that's the end of this one. And remember I said I was going to copy or get a similar look to this, which I think we did, but of course, as you can see here, I probably should have left a bit more gap, but I quite like the way that looks. It's the one before, and that's the one after, and of course this one doesn't have as much black darkness in it, but it does have the darkness. And there's still the pink, as you can see in here, and the roses are in similar positions. These flowers too. So I hope you enjoyed that. And so, whoops, I have one of these arms for my phone that hangs and it bounces, so hopefully that didn't bounce too much. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a go at using one of your older paintings and trying to use the same composition and trying to change up the colors. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.